I exposed my mom's biggest secret. My brother wasn't my father's son. She never thought her lies would take her down. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm 29 years old, and this is the story of how I found out the truth about my family. The lies, the betrayal, the secrets buried deeper than I ever imagined. And how it took losing my father to finally see my mother for who she really was. My mom always supported my brother, Tyler. Everything: school, college, business, his first apartment, even his speeding tickets. Me? I was just there. The daughter she barely tolerated. Even as kids, it was obvious. If there were 2 shirts, Tyler got the better one. If we both wanted cake, he got the bigger slice. When we went out, she'd brag about him to everyone. My handsome boy, my pride. I was just the quiet one. Sometimes the sensitive one. At home, she'd humiliate me over nothing. Burning food, gaining weight, not folding laundry fast enough. Tyler and we had a good bond. He didn't treat me the way she did. He'd sneak me snacks when Mom punished me. He'd sit outside my door when I cried. But Mom, she treated me like a stain on her perfect picture. And when our dad died, everything changed. Or so I thought. There was no will. At least that's what my mother said. She sat us down a week after the funeral and said, "Your father didn't leave anything official. Everything will stay in my name for now." I believed her. Grief does that, it fogs you. But weeks later I couldn't shake the feeling. Something felt off, so I started digging. And in one of my dad's old briefcases, buried beneath tax papers and handwritten notes, I found it. A letter. Dated 2 years ago. In my dad's handwriting. Addressed to me. "Rachel, if you found this, then I'm probably gone. I'm sorry for everything I couldn't say aloud. Your mother and I weren't always truthful. Tyler, he isn't my biological son. Your mother had an affair before we married. She told me he was born premature, but he wasn't. He was the reason we got married at all. I chose to raise him as mine out of love. But love doesn't mean silence anymore. You deserve the truth. Be brave. I want you to know how proud I am of you. You've grown into a woman of strength and compassion, despite the coldness around you. I know how your mother treats you, and I want you to know I see it. I always have. I'm sorry I didn't fight harder. I've made arrangements. The house, the savings, and the land will pass to you. Tyler will understand in time. You're the one who'll protect it. I trust you. I love you. Dad. I cried for hours. That was the first time I felt seen by either parent. And that was the moment I realized my mother had lied. She knew about the will. She chose to hide it. About a month after the funeral, my mother suddenly started acting different. Sweet. Supportive. Almost caring. She started calling me every day. Asking how I was sleeping. Offering to help me sort through Dad's paperwork. Even though she'd never shown the slightest interest in legal matters before. At first, I thought maybe grief had softened her. Maybe losing Dad had shaken something in her. But something about her tone was calculated. Controlled. Like she was rehearsing empathy. One evening, she showed up unannounced with dinner and offered to help me organize Dad's accounts and documents. She sat across the table smiling too much, asking very specific questions. "Have you been to the lawyer again, sweetheart? Did he mention if you need witnesses to make any changes? Do you remember where your father kept the title to the house?" I didn't think much of it, until a folder disappeared from the cabinet where I kept the estate papers. First, I thought I misplaced it. Then the lawyer called me, confused. He said someone claiming to represent me had submitted documents, forms I had supposedly signed, to add my brother as a co-owner to the house and accounts. There were also requests to transfer property ownership, grant power of attorney, and reroute control of Dad's business assets. Only, I never signed a thing. He sent over the papers. My name was there, forged, crooked, hesitant, like someone trying too hard to copy a signature they didn't own. I remember staring at those pages for a long time, my throat closing, my palms shaking. That's when it hit me. All those recent calls. All those sweet gestures, her showing up with dinner, pretending to care, asking how I was coping, it was all a setup. She was never trying to support me. She was trying to get close enough to unlock the legal system. She needed access. Answers. Signatures. And when she had them, her plan was simple. Transfer it all to my brother. Erase me. Leave me with nothing. And I remember thinking, What kind of mother does this? What kind of mother hates her daughter so much that she's willing to forge legal documents, steal her late husband's legacy, and leave her own blood empty-handed? Who does that? Which mother sees her child not as someone to protect, but someone to erase? My entire life I wondered why I was never enough for her. Why her love felt conditional, like something I had to earn but could never quite reach. And now I had the answer. She didn't love me. She saw me as competition. I was never her daughter. I was the obstacle she wanted out of the way. I didn't tell Tyler immediately. I needed time to process. But when I finally showed him the letter and the forged documents, he didn't deny it. He didn't yell. He just looked shattered. I've always felt like something was wrong, he said quietly. I need to know the truth too. And he did. We were halfway through dinner when my mother did what she always did. Turned the attention to Tyler. Tyler's always been the responsible one, she said with a sweet smile, lifting her glass. He's carried this family through the hardest of times. I don't know what I'd do without him. A few relatives clapped politely. Someone even said, he's just like his father. My mother didn't correct them. But when someone asked what I'd been up to lately, she didn't hesitate to take the usual jab. Rachel? Oh, she's still chasing her little art dreams. One day she'll grow out of it. Hopefully before her 30s. Everyone laughed. Except Tyler. And me. I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice came out stronger than I expected. You know what? Let's talk about Tyler. The room froze. My mother's smile faltered. Rachel. But Tyler stood up beside me. No, Mom. Let's really talk. He pulled a folded piece of paper from his jacket, a copy of the letter. I had shown it to him weeks earlier. I had cried and apologized for telling him, but he had just hugged me and said, I've always felt like something was wrong. I need to know the truth too. Now, in front of everyone, he read the letter aloud. The room was dead silent. My mother looked like she'd been slapped, pale, speechless. And then Tyler turned to everyone and said, I'm not Dad's biological son. I never knew. And I wish I had. Because I loved him like he was mine. But what hurts more is that Mom let Rachel suffer, humiliated her, tore her down. All because she was the reminder of what she actually had with Dad. A real child. A real family. And she broke it. Then he turned to her and said, I'm done covering for you. You lied to all of us. You ruined everything good with your pride in your games. You betrayed our father, and you betrayed us. She tried to speak, but no one wanted to hear her anymore. The relatives who once chuckled at her jokes? They stared at her in disgust. Her perfect mask cracked. And behind it was just a bitter, broken woman who had weaponized motherhood. After that night, things changed. Tyler and I? Closer than ever. We talked for hours after the gathering. About Dad. About the years we lost, blinded by our mother's favoritism, by guilt, by silence. He kept apologizing even though he hadn't known. I kept crying, even though part of me had already forgiven him. We went together to Dad's lawyer, not as two people divided by a bitter parent, but as siblings finally free from the shadow she cast. When the lawyer asked how I wanted to proceed with the estate, I didn't hesitate. I want it split equally, I said. Half for me. Half for Tyler. Tyler looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Rachel, no. That's yours. He left it for you. I don't want. But I reached across the desk and grabbed his hand. You were lied to just like me. You lost him too. You're my brother. You protected me when we were kids, even when she made it hard. And Dad may not have been your blood, but you loved him like a son. You earned this. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he squeezed my hand back and whispered, Thank you. It wasn't about money. It was about finally having a family that felt real. Just the two of us, rebuilt from the ashes of everything she tried to destroy. And our mother, she got nothing. Not out of spite. Not out of revenge. But because she had spent her entire life making sure I felt like nothing. Invisible, replaceable, unloved. Because she tried to steal, lie, and manipulate what didn't belong to her. Because she didn't just break our family. She buried it. She called once, claiming we had humiliated her in front of everyone. I didn't respond. Because for 29 years she humiliated me. and then tried to steal the last gift my father left me. This wasn't revenge. It was truth. And once truth is out, no amount of makeup, Sunday smiles, or fake apologies can cover it again. If you like this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more dramatic real-life betrayals and twists.